Hello viewers, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. I am today again joined by Dr. Dexter Penn, who is a Virgin Islander from East and Tortola. He obtained his formative education in the Virgin Islands, then of course studied medicine at the University of the West Indies in Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. After completing his medical degree in 2010, Dr. Penn interned at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Bridgetown, Barbados, and then served in the Virgin Islands at the then Peebles Hospital. Dr. Penn has also worked alongside his older brother, Dr. Mitchell Penn, at Penn Medical Center. Now, Dr. Dexter Penn is a member of the Royal College of Physicians and holds a Master's of Science degree in Research Methods and Healthcare Quality from the University College London, UCL, one of the UK's top universities. Dr. Penn is a fellow of the UCL Dementia Research Center at the UCL Queen Square Institute of Neurology, where he conducts research and delivers clinical care to people living with Alzheimer's disease and rare forms of dementia. Dr. Penn has published scholarly work on young onset dementia as well as on mental capacity and decision making. In addition to his research, he has also founded Calgera, a London-based multi-award-winning technology company that uses neuroscience and artificial intelligence to identify individuals at risk of financial abuse and other harms. Calgera is an alumnus of the UCL and the National Cybersecurity Center Innovation Programs and has been featured in the Financial Times, Forbes, Wired, and the Sunday Times. He has also contributed to public policy on financial vulnerability at the Financial Conduct Authority, number 10 Downing Street, and also serves on the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Longevity. When we return, we discuss his multi-award-winning technology company that uses neuroscience and artificial intelligence to identify individuals at risk of financial abuse and other harms. He's going to tell us all about Calgera, what prompted this creation, and much more. All this after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 Media.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this breaking CCT Live update.
Hello listeners, thank you for joining. I'm Ron Grant reporting for 284 News out of Tortola in the British Virgin Islands with this very special breaking news report. Since the start of 2022, customers have been taking advantage of the 1-month free trial for CCT Live TV and signing up for Fire Fiber Internet. Residents Kyra Powell, Massa Hickinbottom, Carly Cartel, and others have taken to social media to heap praise on CCT for the fiber internet and CCT Live TV. However, we have just been told that the 1-month free trial for CCT Live TV will finish at the end of March. Customers are asked and being advised to go to CCT today and take advantage of this deal before it goes away. Reporting for 284 News out of Tortola in the British Virgin Islands, I'm Ron Grant. Viewers, welcome back and thank you so much for your time. Dr. Penn, welcome back to 284 Media. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for having me. I'm really enjoying myself, having a bit of sunshine.
Absolutely. Now, as mentioned, you are the founder and CEO of Calgera. I know that your training and expertise would allow you to have a greater understanding as it pertains to financial abuse and other harms. But I want to discuss, tell us about the background and how you even got into developing this product.
Absolutely. So, Calgera, it means beautiful or good old age in ancient Greek. And this company actually started off as a means to help one of my patients. So in London, I work with a lot of older people and people that are vulnerable for different reasons. And I had a series of cases where individuals were being deprived of their hard-earned savings, with some of them even losing their homes. And I was trying to find a solution because families would come in to the ward or in the clinic and they would just be completely distraught because their loved one, they've lost 40, 60,000, 100,000 pounds through some financial abuse or some type of fraud. And in trying to help them, trying to find a solution, I didn't find one and I decided to make it myself. And at that time I was working full-time in the hospital doing night shifts and all of that, and I was doing my master's part-time.
Wow.
And of course, as you do, you start a company, right? So I took that opportunity the university was offering, where they were giving you coaching, helping you build your network and skills in order to start your company. So I did that, initially won some prizes that initially gave the nest egg to start building an app which warned family members about potential fraud on the accounts of their loved ones. And I was very fortunate to receive a £100,000 grant from an organization called Nesta in the UK for this particular product, which allowed us to launch in 2020. And while we were testing this with about 200 to 300 individuals, we realized that we really needed to go much further with it. And we were very fortunate. My team, there's 5 others working on Calgera with me. We were very fortunate to be part of the National Cybersecurity Centre's Accelerator Program, which is based near the intelligence agency there. And the reason why we got involved is because the issue of financial abuse and fraud, it is something that is actually a national security issue, because if you think about it, the money, where does it go after a scam occurs? It actually ends up going to some very unsavory places. I'm talking terrorism, I'm talking about the black market, and could be actually going into the wrong hands, particularly places like Russia and China, for nefarious purposes. Now, being able to put a stop to this, or to better understand what's going on to try to mitigate that risk, is something that was very important. So we got some funding from them as well.
Beautiful.
And, pardon?
Beautiful.
Yep. So that's how it started, and
wonderful.
All of that.
So explain to us, as from a user perspective, how does the product work?
So this is something that is actually for the banks themselves to use to safeguard their customers.
Okay.
And how it works is we've got a dashboard that is the front end bit, where you'd be able to see first an overall view, how many customers are at risk of financial abuse, or those that are not having enough financial resilience. So when I say financial resilience, I mean the ability to withstand a shock. So right now everyone is complaining about the gas prices, so your ability to withstand that increase is something that we look at there as well. So we give you a score that's really simple. It's green, amber, red. Green, everything looks all right. Amber, we need to be a bit more vigilant. And if it's red, you really need to have a person reviewing what's happening on that account, because we're comparing activity today with what happened about 12 months ago, and we are continuously looking at the new sets of transactions as they're being generated. But this is in the background. As a banking customer, you don't need to know that this exists. You just know that this is helping keep your account safe.
Understood. Now, you mentioned, of course, not just financial abuse, but other harms. What are some of the other areas that you've seen thus far that persons are at risk for?
Very good question, Ron. So the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, so that's the watchdog for financial institutions, they did some research looking into this concept of financial vulnerability. Now, when I say vulnerability, I mean any characteristic that someone may have that would make them more at risk of having a bad outcome if the institution, especially, isn't doing what they ought to do to protect them. And so the main harms are related to financial fraud, financial abuse, as well as being missold a product. So it's sort of the bank or the insurance company or whatnot actually giving you a product that's not suitable for your needs at all. So that's mis-selling a product. But also, there are other harms where people end up being excluded from accessing financial services that are, as the World Bank says, are critical for individuals to make their day-to-day, to meet their day-to-day needs. So whether that's accessing healthcare, education, basics like food and shelter, that sort of thing. If they aren't able to participate in the economy,
yes,
that's something that's quite crucial.
Wonderful. I must ask, of course, the company was founded in the UK. Is it accessible? Is Calgera accessible across the world or just in the UK?
So my team, we are in talks actually across the world, even in New Zealand. And at this point in time, if anyone at particularly the National Bank is interested in having a conversation, I'm definitely open to seeing how we might be able to facilitate some type of a pilot in the Virgin Islands,
okay,
because I think this is something that is incredibly needed. And I think that, so if these are the UK numbers, but we found that actually more than half of adults in the UK, they have some form of financial vulnerability at any time. And it's something that can happen to any of us at any moment throughout our life. And it may not be something that is permanent, it may just be temporary. So, if you are moving, if you've suddenly had to take on some caring responsibilities for someone, or if you've had a breakdown of your relationship, these are all things that make us all stressed and distracted. And at that moment, that's when you'll get that scam text or that scam telephone call, or you may start making errors when managing your finances. And because it's such a crucial thing for your day-to-day life, it's just so important to be able to have the peace of mind that your bank is doing something to protect you from the harms I spoke about earlier.
Thank you so much. I must commend you on this remarkable piece of work. I do believe that it is, just like you wanted it to, is really helping to secure persons. Myself and Dr. Penn viewers, along with attorney David Bendigo, sat down recently to really discuss elder financial abuse from a perspective more of a dementia patient. Dr. Penn, you have, of course, immense training when it comes to Alzheimer's and different forms of dementia. And of course, we have discussed the fact that this is now affecting persons much earlier on. I want to segue a little bit to dementia prevention and awareness. Where do you think we're at when it comes to the full conversation of having persons understand early detection and signs?
Ron, this is such an important issue. And I think that we really need to first break the stigma. When we talk about having dementia, we need to take a step back and ask ourselves exactly what is it?
Yeah.
And it isn't something that means that first thing, where people think, oh no, this person has gone crazy or something. That's not correct. It is a dysfunction, it's a disease of the brain. And this is caused by some stress that's being placed on the brain cells. And there are some proteins. There's amyloid protein in Alzheimer's disease and something called tau protein as well.
Okay.
And they put the neurons under immense stress, and that causes them to die and shrink. And the onset of the underlying disease process in the brain actually starts 20 years before you actually start having the symptoms. So when we're thinking about our brain health, there's an old saying where we say that what's good for the heart is good for the brain, and it's actually holds true for in most circumstances where controlling your blood pressure and your cholesterol and having regular exercise, yes, and all of that, it's all really, really important. But I think that first off, we just need to understand that having this type of condition, it can affect your memory, it can affect your speech and your ability to use language. It could also, in different forms, it can affect your ability to interact with other people. And so people acting a little bit strange, in social circumstances, or in some cases, it could also affect your ability to process visual information. So you're losing your ability to see because of this condition. So thinking about this, there are many different causes, and dementia, it's as an overall umbrella term, and you've got the different subtypes. So it's really important that if you've got anyone that you are not sure about what's happening with their memory and thinking, because that's what's actually impaired, it's your ability to process information as well, then you really ought to, at early o'clock, start seeking correct assessment of what's happening there, because in my world, where I work in clinical trials, there are actually many different medications that are currently being tested. There's one drug that's actually been approved by the FDA in the United States. That drug is a little controversial for various reasons, which I can't get into due to the limited time. But just to say that these medications are only going to be useful at the earliest stages. And so it's sort of like people that are mildly affected, where they just, what we might say is, oh, they're just having a senior moment. That is not normal. That is not normal. I have to make sure that people understand it's not normal.
Understood. One of the things that I think persons avoid really coming to grips with is that dementia is by far one of the most debilitating diseases when it comes to comparison to others. It really affects in different forms, whether it's various organs or parts of your body, that essentially your body is still around, but especially for caretakers, you're looking at someone and you literally essentially see them dying in different forms before your eyes. So I do thank you for your candidness and, of course, and honesty in saying that some of the signs that we're seeing and we tend to shrug off are not normal. And essentially all we can do is, once we detect those signs, whether in ourselves or loved ones, have the courage to help them and get and seek help. I want to commend you for your remarkable work in developing the product, Calgera. I think it is, just like you have won multiple awards for it, is absolutely a phenomenal piece of material, and I do hope that it continues to grow worldwide, and perhaps we have the option of introducing it here to the British Virgin Islands, not only protecting elders, but protecting anyone from financial abuse as well as other harms. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Penn.
Thank you so much. And if anyone is interested in investing as well, please get in touch.
And how can they do that if they are interested?
So if they're interested, they can pop us an email over to inquiry@calgera.com, or they can directly email our Chief Revenue Officer, Hugh Furness, at Hugh, H-U-G-H, @calgera.com, KALGERA.com.
Wonderful. Viewers, that is all the time we have, but I do hope that you were able to take away something from this very impactful session. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Ron Grant for 284 Media. Bye-bye.